Hey, what's going on, guys? I'm back, and you're tuned into another episode of Disheveled Transmissions. So, today I'm going to be talking with you guys, discussing and reviewing Danzig's second album, Lucifuge. Lucifuge, well, what an interesting and controversial record. It was Danzig's sophomore effort as a band, and to live up to their self-titled album that came out in '88, just to live up to that, they had their work really cut out for them. So they around, I guess it was June of '89, they went into the studio. They went into Hollywood Sound Recorders, uh, which is a legendary studio. It's put out, like Slayer's recorded there. Prince did Controversy, Dirty Mind there. B.B. King recorded there. Jim Morrison did American Prayer there. Just a lot of good legendary stuff come out of there. So they started out there, and they would wind up, over the years they recorded the album. They wound up at three different studios that, Hollywood Sound Recorders, Laura B Sound Studios, and they would record also at Suma Music Group. Uh, and by the time it's released, it was released on Deaf American Recordings, which was Rick Rubin's label at the time, and was issued by Geffen Records. But Geffen, they uh, they didn't even want to put their name on it because it was so controversial and just so it was what they consider sacrilege at the time. It questioned religion and it, sexuality and everything like that. It was just up. Oh, no subject matter, kind of something. You don't talk about that, but and that addressed it head on. Yeah, they didn't even want anything to do with it. So it was released on June 26, 1990. I forgot to tell y'all that. About a year after they started recording it. It's just they were gonna title it originally 777, the album, but they decided against it, and that would come later on. Album title of Danzig's that would come later on. They decided against it and went with Lucifuge, and which is it fitted more, I thought. It's Lucifuge. It's like where they got that. It's a Latin imperative form of a Latin compound verb. Uh, it's pronounced lux fugere, something like that. Lux fugere, and it means to flee the light. So it's kind of like a command when you Lucifuge to flee the light. It's telling you so. It totally fits. Totally fits the album, and you can tell that from the opening track, Long Way Back from Hell, when that dive bomb comes in, it just, you're in for some shit, pretty much. The album was produced by Rick Rubin, who, up to that time had done really good work. He'd worked with Slayer, Beastie Boys, Run DMC, done all kind of hip hop acts. It was just, he made them out of this world before he was actually you know, the Loudness King, ruining Black Sabbath and Metallica albums and stuff. But that's another story. But Rick Rubin, yeah, he produced it, and from what I know of Rick Rubin, he's kind of one of those all up in your shit producers, pretty much. I'd read some stuff with John Christ, and he said that a lot of the solos, it was pretty much him and Glenn, like, here, won't you try this and do this and that. So it was kind of like Rick Rubin. He was like probably the fifth member of the band, kind of. And he's one of those kind of producers. Not like somebody like Roger Bain or somebody that just like, hey, y'all boys come in and play your stuff, and I'll sit back and. So yeah, but he did good on this one. Rick, he made the album sound good. I mean, he really did. And that's all I really know about the production of that. I mean, he made it sound really good, and you had some of the stuff like I was talking about, where you hear like a guitar and one speaker, and you hear like a cymbal going. and another, like on the song Girl, for instance, that was that was really one example of that was really good, and it just sounds good, and it just comes and molds together. You know, Rick Rubin's really good at that, at mold and sound that, you know, typically doesn't go together. He can do it. He can make it work and make it happen, make it sound fucking good. So you know, I gotta respect that about Rick Rubin. He's a genius, man. You know, he is in his right. He's own right. He's a genius, and he's earned that title. The cover art's crazy. I had to get a CD just to show you guys this, because it doesn't do it justice if you just, you know, show the actual cover, which is like Glenn with like a cross with the Danzig skull on it, holding it, and it shows his chest, you know, his hairy chest. If you take this out, it folds out into an upside down cross as well. I wanted to show you guys that, which is really cool. Let's see here, give you guys a little bit of the idea of it, like how it and it folds out into an upside down cross, if I can get it here, of the band members. Yeah, you get the general idea. It's you have the band members, and it's the same picture of Glenn holding the cross, and you know, the other guys on the side down the Chuck Biscuits down on the bottom. And up here, it's a Bible verse. It's really wicked. It goes really wicked with this CD. It says, "Ye are of your father the devil, and the lusts of your father ye will do." It's from St. John 8:44 out of the King James Bible. And that sets the mood too, you know, it totally sets the mood. I love that. It's a simplistic cover on the outside, but when you know, open it up, it brings it to life. And that's the way this album is. It's larger than life. And I really like that about it. So yeah, and what do you say? The music itself on this album, like I said, when you hear that dive bomb and Long Way Back from Hell, it's, you know, you're going to get chills. And, you know, the funny thing about that is, like, John Christ had said that, it was either Glenn Danzig or John Christ, one, I can't quite remember, said that they had a really hard time putting that together. You know, it didn't sound right. You know, do the dive bombs, and then the dive bombs didn't sound. But when Erie Vaughn came in and just put that boom, 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 that rumbling bass in with it, he said it just came together. It sounded like wicked, and it did. That's a good tone setter for the album. And then the song itself, I mean, Glenn's voice in this album just sounds, this is Glenn Danzig at his height, you know, the Cronin, the Elvis like voice, and he can get the Roy Orbison like feel, like he did, you know, Blood and Tears, the ballad on there, which is just sends chills all over. It still gives me chills. That song and this whole album, for that matter. And you know, this was just Glenn when he was at his best, man. And you know, I remember when this album first came out, I was just, you know, discovering the blues, you know, a lot of blues stuff. And then I've got this album, because I was already into metal, but, excuse me, I just discovered the blues, you know, people like Howlin' Wolf, Muddy Waters. And then I bought this and I was like, whoa, you know, I hear Killer Wolf, and I hear I'm the One, and 777, the song. And I'm thinking, man, it's awesome. These guys are really into blues too, you know, and, you know, I was like, yeah, these guys are into blues too, man. Whoa, cool. You know, sound, and you know, it does have that dirty gut blues feel. You know, dirty, just dirty, like a Howlin' Wolf feel. You know, maybe even a little BB King in it, or you know, somebody like that, T-Bone Walker kind of stuff. And Robert Johnson definitely, because you know, it's got that porch, you know, and 777's got the slide in it. It's got that Delta blues sound, the porch, Mississippi sound, you know, and then there's some of the electric Chicago-like stuff with it too. And this album's just killer, man. I mean, like the you know, Snake's Christ, that's just a song right there. It's questioning, like, people's dedication to some dead man, you know, that they call a savior. Why, you know, and then that's, you know, it makes you think, and people are scared of that shit. They, you know, maybe they still are. I think maybe it's getting better, but back then they were scared to think. They just told, you know, you know, they don't want their kids listening to that shit, questioning, you know, their religion. And then you had, you know, Devil's Plaything, which is a beautiful, like, charming. It's like a lead you from the light kind of song. It's really cool, you know. And Girl was just killer. It's just a rocker right after Blood and Tears, which was like a Roy Orbison like thing, you know, where Glenn sounds just perfecto, amazing. I can't say enough really good stuff about this. To me, like the song Blood and Tears, I want to hit on that again. They said it was just about a girl's pain, you know. To me, when I heard it, my interpretation of it was that it's like a ghost talking to his lover after he died. That's how I'd always interpret it, and that's haunting, so haunting, you know. And I still like to listen to it like that. I don't know if you guys, do you guys like y'all? How do y'all interpret that song? Because you can interpret it in a lot of ways, you know. And many of these songs you can that makes for a damn good song when you can interpret it your own way and leave the, you know, listening experience with your own thing, with your own take, your own perspective on it. That's a sign of good music to me, you know. So yeah, you know, it's a great album. There was a song that was gonna be on it called "The Other Side" that they never released, and I've never heard. I can't find it anywhere on the internet. I would love to hear it. I don't know if they released it on any other stuff, like any of his other compilation like stuff. Let me know if they did, and you guys know. I'd love to hear that song. It was called "The Other Side." Yeah, so all in all, this album rating, I would have to give it 5 for the music, 5 for the music, 5 for the cover, because like I said, the cover was really, really, really good. You know, it just, you know, starts out simple enough and it folds out into this whole thing, you know, and then the whole Bible verse that's 5 on that, and the production was really good. You can crank it, you know, not like Rick Rubin stuff now where it distorts like hell when you crank it up in the headphones or the car. I don't understand that loudness technique shit, but this was before that, and it sounds really good, so I got to give that a 5 as well. And this whole album overall is a fucking 5. Everybody should at least hear this album, if not own it. It's just great. So yeah, that's my take on it. What do you guys think? Do y'all like Lucifuge? Is it your favorite Danzig album, or do you have another favorite that you think's better, or was that Glenn in his prime? Like I thought, like I said, you know, my opinion was on it. And anything other thoughts you guys might have on it, I'd love to hear it, man. And if you guys also want to say, if y'all have any suggestions for me, any albums you want me to talk about, let me know. I'm totally open, and you know, discussing any heavy metal albums, you know, that you guys can think of. And so I guess that's about it today. Enjoyed this, and hope to see you guys back later on. Until then, keep on rocking.